I've never really been good at replacing things, and I don't really know why. I feel like, I don't know, I guess it's something that's hard for everybody in some ways, like getting rid of the old things that you're attached to and moving on, starting something different, getting something new, whatever that may be. I don't think anyone's ever said it's easy. But at the same time, I feel like everybody knows it's a good thing at the end of the day to replace stuff, to move forward in your life, whatever that means in this context. Like, I don't know, getting something new, doing a new thing with your life, whether that's like a new job, a new school, a new relationship, just having new things, new clothes in your wardrobe, new decorations in your bedroom, whatever. Like, I don't know, all of these things at the end of the day are most likely upgrades. They're moving forward with your life. They're progressing. They're showing you, I don't know, the next step of your life in some way. Whether it's big or small, like, it's nice to have new stuff, to have new stuff going on. And I feel like that's something I've always known and accepted and appreciated, really. Like, the idea that replacing things in your life, that, I don't know, that kind of thing is really important, and it shows like your progression as a human being. It's good to let stuff go and move forward, but that's never made it easy for me. And I don't know why. I don't know why that's not enough. Why am I not listening to myself, I guess, if I can tell myself over and over and over again that these are good things. It's good stuff that's happening to you or that you're making happen with your life. And everyone goes through it, and at the end of the day, you're going to be better for it. And that's important. And I like that about life. But it's something that I've always struggled with in one way or another. Replacing things. It feels like no matter what I do, I have this inexplicable and really annoying attachment to the first time, the first thing. The first time something happens to me in my life, it feels like that was special. That was it. This was meant to be that way. And that's all as all I care about, I guess, the first time. And even though every subsequent time after that can be a lot better, and you learn from your mistakes, you learn the lessons, or you know what you enjoyed and you can go do it again. I don't know. It feels like, almost like, without a doubt, there's no way around the fact that the more you do something, the more you have a certain type of experience, the better it's going to be. And yet I harbor this fucked up emotional attachment to the first time something happens. And as much as things can be quote unquote technically better each time around, I just want the first time. I want to go back to that, or I don't want to taint that memory. I think it's really messed up that I, and probably a lot of other people, will always harbor this special, annoying attachment to the first time. And as much as you have so many first times in your life, and at a certain point, you have to just accept the fact that those come and go. And you can't be a child forever where everything is always new to you. You have to grow up. I don't know. That's not the direction I expected to take this. But grow up. Be a fucking man, dude. Be a man and fucking do something for the second time, you dumbass. and do it better this time. Not what I expected to be saying, but it's kind of what I mean. But people always just have this tendency to get attached to the way things were, the way it felt like the universe wanted it to be. That's how it goes in my head, at least. And I think, like, the more I thought about this, the more I thought about the idea of replacing things in my life, the more I realized that this struggle to let go of the first time and replace things has kind of always been there for me, even when I was a child who hadn't fucking done a single thing for the second time. I don't know, once those second times started to arise, I didn't like them. I wanted the first time to last forever. I think the story that really made me realize that when I reflected on it was thinking about my childhood dog, Kaylee. She was a nice chocolate lab. She was a great pet, my first pet. But when she passed away, I was 15. I think I had just turned 15. She had been my childhood dog, my first pet forever. She'll always be my first pet. And for whatever reason, to me, it felt like that was it. She was my pet. No more. No going forward with that. Because how are they going to top Kaylee? How are they going to top the perfect, sweet little dog that I had growing up? Nothing was ever going to replace that in my mind. And so after like a couple months had passed, my whole family felt like they were ready to get a new dog. And I was the only one that said no. I don't think we should get a new dog. Because I feel like we're just replacing Kaylee at that point. And you can never replace your first dog. You can't replace all the times we had. I know she was a dog, but you can't replace who that is in your memory. But eventually my family did go on to get another dog, and they were all like, yeah, no, it's like we're honoring her. We even got the same exact breed that she was. We got another dog just like her. And to them, it's like she can live on in some sort of spiritual successor in that way. We got a new dog, and I love that dog, and she's so great, and I'm happy that we got her. But I think it took me a long time to accept that a new dog doesn't mean replacing the old one. And a new anything doesn't have to replace the old thing in this overwhelming, all-encompassing way that it's often been in my head, where it's like rewriting your memories, erasing what you once had because now you got the new and improved version. I don't think that's what it should be about, because getting that new dog has only offered me many opportunities to form new, great memories, to have a new pet. And now I was older. I was actually old enough to have raised that pet. And it was a whole completely different experience. And a new dog with a new personality. And it's been great. But I was just so hesitant because in my mind it felt like Kaylee was my one and only dog. And another dog after she dies, like what's that supposed to mean? What does that mean for all the memories that I established and the experiences I had? I felt like it was supposed to overwrite them. And now I'm starting to see that instead of overwriting, it can expand. And it can grow the life experiences that I have, I guess. I mean, it's not all about the dog, though. Like, another thing I would do when I was a kid, I would play video games, as you do as a kid. As I still do. Maybe too much. No, I don't do it too much. I actually need to make some more time for it these days, to be honest. But I would play these games, and so often people would be like, resetting their games, like in Pokemon, to get the optimal stats on their starter Pokemon. That's a thing people do, for example, or even just like saving your game before something big happens, so that if it doesn't go the way you want it to go, you can just go back, reset, restart, do it over again. And even that was a weird thing for me that I really didn't like to do. I felt like even in a fucking video game, it's like this is the experience I was meant to have. This is the way the universe intended for it to be. And so I'm not gonna fucking go back and restart my game because I accidentally chose Bulbasaur. This is what the universe wanted me to have. So I'm gonna keep going. The more I grew up, the more I played these games, the more it's like, I'm not gonna go back and change it. Like, especially those games with multiple endings and stuff. I got the ending that I was meant to get. This is where my choices led me, and somehow it got me here. This was my ending. This is the way that I did things, the way it was meant to happen in some way or another. So I'm not going to go back on that. I'm not going to go back on that, even if I think the other way is better in hindsight. I got what I was supposed to get. And that same attitude prevailed throughout my life in the real world. Not talking about Bulbasaur anymore. So it's not all about video games, I hate to admit. But I do have real life experiences with real human beings that I'm not just attached to in the parasocial fictional character attachment way, but these are real people and real experiences that I'm having. In that kind of way, it even becomes harder to replace things. I don't know. It's like I never really wanted to give things a second try, if that makes sense. It's like whatever result I got, that's what I was meant to get. I would do things one time. I would see one place, or I'd do one thing. I'd do the thing that I'd been wanting to do. And even if it didn't go exactly the way I wanted it to go, I wanted so badly to believe that things were meant to be. I think that's really what this whole conversation, I guess, boils down to. I've always had this seemingly innate desire to believe that things are meant to be the way that they happen. I don't know what I would call it. It's destiny, I guess, is the closest word, because I don't know. As much as I don't think there's a point to labeling that, I still want to believe that that things somehow work out the way they're supposed to. And maybe that's just me trying to be an optimist, and it's in some ways what you have to do to feel happy and not constantly be second guessing yourself. I mean, the fact is, whether there's destiny or no destiny, like any little decisions you make, I don't know, that shit adds up, and you could live so many different lives. I mean, everyone it's kind of crazy how much everyone has the power to just completely change their own life, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, if you want to, you can quit your job, you can move to a new city, you can dye your hair, you can get a tattoo, you can change your style, you can change who you are completely in a matter of moments. If you really want to, you could be a new person within the day and live a completely different life. And that's crazy. That's crazy how much power we truly do have. And I mean, to a lot of people, I think that's what's cool. That's what's optimistic, is the idea of, I don't know, I'm not trying to get deep into the philosophical free will debate and stuff. That's not where I'm going here. But like the idea that you can have free will and you can just do whatever you want to do, and like you have the power to control your own life. Like maybe that's really the optimist's outlook, that you can do whatever you want to do. And there's nothing tying you to any set path. And yet I feel like I don't agree with that. As much as I'm coming to that conclusion right now, still there's this maybe more emotional side of me that feels like it's not just about having the ability and the power to do stuff, to do what you want to do with your life. Like that's cool, but doesn't it feel more meaningful if you can believe that you're fulfilling some sort of role in the universe, that there is something you're meant to do with your life, and it's not all about just doing whatever. I mean, I'm a big proponent of doing whatever you think makes you happy in that moment. I believe in that, but I believe in that while also hoping that by doing the things you really feel compelled to do, that at some point along the way you're fulfilling something a little bit greater than yourself, I guess. It's not just about being content with your life and feeling fulfilled. That's important. And I think the search for that, the search for life fulfillment and happiness, is 100% of the time the way that you're going to find your role and fulfill that role if it does exist. You have to pursue the things that make you happy in order to get there. But I don't know. I hope there's a little bit more meaning than just doing what you need to do to be pretty happy with your life, and then it's over and that's it. I want to feel like things are meant to be to some degree. I also want to believe that we have the power to change our own lives, and I think we do. Like I just said, you can move out tomorrow and become a different person. But is that just a step on your journey to finding that person that you're meant to be and living that life that you were meant to live? I don't know. Nobody knows. But in a weird way, I've always had this hope. Again, this weird, seemingly innate desire to believe that things happen the way they're meant to happen. And it's so easy to look at it like, oh yeah, this one little decision in my life led me to meet this person who introduced me to that person, and then that's how I built this whole friend group, or that's how I got connected with this career path, and look where I am now, look how happy I am now. Like, there's, in anyone's life, there are these tiny little decisions that I know everyone has these little things that they can look back on and the way they snowballed and be like, wow, I'm so happy I made that one little decision because somehow I ended up here. I mean, for me, what's coming to mind is where I decided to go to college, and that's admittedly that's not a little decision, but like I don't know, even the decision to apply to that college, like I didn't visit beforehand. I didn't really know anything about the school. I threw in an application last minute because it was free to apply, and I felt like I don't know, I needed some more options just in case I didn't get into all the schools I was applying to. I don't know. I don't know what compelled me to do it, and that's what's cool and interesting, and like these little moments that everyone has where it's like, why did I do that? I don't know why I decided to throw in an application to Connecticut College of all places. It just kind of felt right. And I ended up getting accepted. And I went to the admitted students day and I'm like, yeah, this is the best place for me. And I went there and wouldn't you know it, it was the best place for me. And my life would be so drastically different that I can't even imagine where I would be right now. I had so many experiences that changed who I am as a person, and I definitely would not be right here right now if I went anywhere else. Or even after getting there, if I didn't meet this certain person, if I didn't have these friends, do this class, have this experience, like all those things, the tinier stuff than where you go to college for 4 years, the what class do you take for a semester, the where do you sit in that class. I'm in the friend group I am now with all of my best friends because during orientation a guy happened to sit across from me at lunch and we started talking at breakfast. Actually, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. This little decision to not get up and leave immediately after the other guy did at breakfast entirely changed my life and who I am as a person. And I want to believe that's a good thing. I want to believe that's the way it was meant to happen. And I have no way of proving it. No way, nobody does. But everyone has these little things, these little circumstantial events that just change who they are as a person and change their life in so many notable, meaningful ways. In simple terms, I always wanted to feel like things were meant to be, that things happened the way they were supposed to happen. And so in some cases, I would prevent myself from even trying things again or moving forward with my life because no. I think the universe intended for it to be this way. I think this is where I'm supposed to be. That's how it was supposed to happen. And I want to believe that because I don't want to believe that I'm deviating from the path that will ultimately get me where I want to go, where I'm happiest, where I'm fulfilled and feel love and feel loved. I don't know. I just want to be who I'm supposed to be. And again, I feel this conflict saying that because there's no person you're supposed to be that you need to be. I think that's dumb to suggest and puts too much pressure on yourself. But I want to believe in destiny. I guess I want to believe that somehow, some way, that like all the good stuff was worth it and all the bad stuff was even more worth it because it got me to the best stuff, the stuff that I was meant to experience. And I hope that's true in some weird way. That everything you experience builds up to being the person you're meant to be and just having things happen the way they're supposed to. I think one of the places I've most felt this in life, the struggle to replace things, and the deep hope that things will happen the way they're meant to happen, mostly comes from like love and romantic relationships and all of that. I know. Look at the 24-year-old talk about his love life on the fucking roof. What is this, an indie movie? But you know what I'm saying, man. You know what I'm talking about. I feel like I hardly even need to make this point because everyone thinks about it. Everyone goes through, like, loving people and breaking up and all that stuff. And it feels like either the most important or the hardest to accept, probably both, when it comes to, like, was it meant to be that way? I mean, it's hard to think about. It's hard to think about when it comes to, like, relationships that have come and gone, that have ended in some way. Was that how it was supposed to go? Was that how this was meant to happen? Or was there something more you could do? I don't know. And no one ever really knows, and the easy thing is to say that no, it's not your fault, and yeah, like, it probably is meant to be in some way, even if you're not talking about destiny. Like, you learn a lesson from a relationship and you move on to the next one and make that next one better. That is factually, objectively, how most relationships go, how most lives go. Is that you have a relationship, it ends for one reason or another, and you learn from that and try to do a little better the next time around. That is just the process of relationships. Most people don't have one relationship for their entire life. But I don't know. As easy as it is to think and to know that the way a relationship ended was for the best, it's hard to believe it. I don't know if anyone else really understands that distinction, but I think if you've made it this far, you do. There's a difference from understanding something and believing it. But I don't know, when it comes to love, I feel like I have to comically exaggerate that word when I say it, just to acknowledge that I'm being a little bit cheesy right now. But when it comes to love, to love, I don't know, I think it's one of the most important things, period, and the most important thing to believe you're doing the right way, to believe that it's happening how it should happen. Because so much of love as we know it and culturally identify it, like, so much of that idea of what love is founded off of being something that's meant to be. And so whenever that doesn't work out, it feels like I'm more desperate to believe that, okay, maybe that was meant to be, and maybe it was meant to be because it was a good thing, and ending was also a good thing, and that was meant to be because all this stuff being means that the next time it do. No, like you feel very strongly when you're in a relationship that this has to be it, that this is this is the one, this is how it was meant to be. Because I'm so happy right now, and how could this... And like, I know I'm in love with them, so it's gotta be meant to be. And then when it ends, maybe your tendency is to say, oh, it wasn't meant to be, or maybe your tendency is to say, it was meant to be and ending was meant to be. I mean, I think that's a good way to look at it, but again, I feel desperate to believe that. To believe that things happened the way they were supposed to happen. Because I do feel so strongly that, like, a relationship like that is important, and it's like the most meaningful thing I've ever experienced. So I want to say that it was meant to be. But I also recognize that, I mean, most of the time this stuff doesn't last forever. You know, I wanted to be able to have a second relationship and a third relationship. I wanted to meet more people, do new things, have new experiences, see what that kind of thing would be like with somebody else. But again, I just have trouble replacing things. Again, I still want to feel that the first time was special. And in many ways, the first time you do anything is going to be special. And you can never replace that. You can do it again, you can have similar experiences, better experiences even, but for some fucked up reason, I'm always attached to the first time. I want to feel like the universe made that happen. Because it felt so special. And like, to do it all again with somebody else, it sometimes feels like it's just discounting the first time. Or at least it'll never live up to that. And I know that's not true, but it feels that way. It feels like, especially when it comes to love, that like, this was supposed to be some fucking star-crossed thing. Something that came from a place other than just myself. And that's what's weird about it, man. Is that inevitably almost everyone is going to have that second and third relationship, and they're gonna replace the old one, replace the first time. And I really do believe that, like, those relationships will be better, and you'll be even happier and more in love than you were the first time. But you can never fall in love for the first time again. And that doesn't mean you can never fall in love again. That's what most people do. And I think that's really cool that you can love so many different people within one lifetime. You can have that, like, most meaningful, special connection possible. And you can have it many times over, in many different ways with many different people. And it's always going to be special. But it's not going to be the first time. And I don't know why that matters to me. I don't know why I cared that it's the first time. It just feels less special, less significant, less like it was meant to be. When you've already done it all before. I don't know. I think it should be very encouraging that most people love many times in their life. I think that is very encouraging. And it's really cool. Like, the multitude of loves you can have in your life. the multiple ways in which you can really make that meaningful, positive impact on someone and have them make that impact on you too. That should be really encouraging, and yet sometimes it just makes me sad. Sometimes it just makes me sad because it means that you really can find that anywhere. And again, that is a hopeful statement. That is a sentiment that people will tell you as encouraging advice, that like, yeah, love is always out there, man. With anyone, you can find it anywhere. And you really can. I really do. I believe that. And I don't just think that, I believe it. But if it's always out there waiting for you, if it's something that can be found between so many different people, so many times, then like, what even makes it special anymore, I guess? Why didn't the first one just work out then? You know? I don't mean to be such a downer, because again, at the end of the day, I think the most important thing is just loving and being loved, whether it was meant to be that way or not, whether it's gonna last forever or not. I don't know. Sometimes it can be more special in the way that it is temporary. And so, you know, love as hard as you can. Well, you still can. Before the sirens come and get you, just love as much as you can. And hopefully feel loved as much as you can. Doesn't matter how meant to be, how special it was, how much the universe had to do with it, or how much you had to do with it. Like, doesn't mean it's not special. It'll never not be special. But I guess the only thing that really sets apart the first and second and third and fourth and fifth loves it's the fact that one of them was the first time that it happened. And I don't know. That's why I really hope and I want to believe that the beginning and the end of these relationships are all important, and they're all meant to be exactly that way. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. But everything about them, I hope, happened how they were supposed to. And that somehow, for some reason, it is important that I keep going through that and meeting new people and having those types of relationships again. Because I do want to, I don't know, keep doing that, keep being a meaningful person in those people's lives, as in a lot of people's lives. I don't know, I want to be as meaningful as possible, but I still find it hard. It's just hard to replace things that you love. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. You do have to move on and move forward from basically everything in your life. Whether it's the tiny little things like getting rid of your old clothes or replaying a video game. Replacing that stuff in your mind can be hard, but it's much harder when it comes to like replacing a special time in your life or replacing a loved one. But I think the point is that maybe replacing things, maybe replacing was never the right word to use, because it's not truly about replacing them. Just like the dog I had as a kid. We weren't replacing her by getting a new dog. We were getting another dog. We were having a new experience with a new pet. And I don't know. was an opportunity for me to expand. It wasn't rewriting the memories I had with the first dog. It was expanding all of the dog-related memories and experiences that I had. And showing me that I could love this dog differently. I could do new things with this dog and continue growing and becoming a completely different person by the end of it. And I still wouldn't have been the same person without the first dog. But it's not like getting another one made those memories any less special. It just gave me the opportunity to make more memories. And maybe that's the point. Maybe that's what distinguishes the first time from all the other ones. It's not that the first time was distinctly special, more special than anything else, because it was the universe bringing it together and making it happen for the first time. It's that it can allow you to have that first time and inform everything that comes next. You're never gonna forget the first time. And it will always be unique. But maybe what's special about it is that it can make everything that happens next even more special. Maybe what makes the first time truly special is trying again.